Welcome to the podcast, The Story Behind the Song with Denny Carleton and Friends. On this podcast, you will hear stories, listen to archived interviews from Denny's previous radio show, The Cleveland Music Connection, and hear what Denny and his friends are up to now. So here is my favorite singer, songwriter, recording artist, author, music teacher, radio personality, Denny Carleton.
Hey, welcome to the Cleveland Music Connection, or the story behind the song. This is today we're going to feature a band that I was in the 1980s called The Window, or the Surprize Band. And, you know, in northern Ohio, northeast Ohio, the Cleveland, Akron, Kent, Lake County area has like a big history of rock and roll. I've been part of it for a while. Also, some of my friends have been part of other scenes. And I'm just going to kind of, keep presenting different history of different bands. So this is another chapter in the story of Northeastern Ohio, and the band that I was in was called The Window. From 1980 to 1989, it was formerly known as the Surprize Band. From the 70s to 80s, after the heyday of the Lost Souls acquired Moses, I tried to do my own music, and I also did church music, and then in the 80s I just decided to try to just make a little bit of money playing locally and publish my own music, which I ended up doing. And the bands did this band did mostly 60s, The Window, a few 80s, played about 3 times a week, but we recorded some original songs, which now we have just released in the last year of a download called Open Window, which shows the original band songs that we had. We were a fun band in Northeast Ohio. The extra money helped me fund putting out my music, and also the extra money helped all of us. But the extra money from playing gigs helped I had a tape label called Greenlight Records, and during the 1980s, and also Mark Luthart had started the recording studio, Angel Recording, with Mike Way, another member of the band. That helped kind of fund his Angel Recording. Most of these tunes that are on this new download have been released before, but Mark Luthart has gone and remastered them, and they really sound good. And it's only a download album. There's nothing physical about it, and it paints more of a picture of the band. If you want to know more about it, just go to the website and type in my website, dennycarleton.com, and type in Open Window, and you'll have like a whole history of the band, which I'm going to present here too. Most of the music is sort of a power pop feel, and so it really sounds good. So this is my attempt to fill in the blank of this band's part in the general music scene in the Cleveland music world. And so let's get on with that, and I'll share some of the history. And this is I'm going to play a little tune called Fill in the Blank, a little bit of it, and that's off of this CD. And then we're going to start telling you the history of The Window and Surprize Band.
50s it was this, in the 60s it is that, the 70s it's this, and the 80s it is that.
Here's a history of the band and the scene that sort of surrounded The Window. The Window was originally called the Surprize Band, and we had Roy LeBoy on the drums, Mike Way on bass, Mark Luthart lead guitar, vocals, and myself played rhythm guitar and sang. That band only lasted a few months, and Roy LeBoy was replaced by longtime friend Max Schaefer on drums. Roy went on to record many of his own original songs and came back and even played drums on a track that we'll hear later on this release. Sometimes I Wonder. He played that on that. And we're going to go through each song, too. We're going to go through it, and I'll be talking to other band members as we go along with this. Around the beginning of the band, Mark Luthart and Mike Way started Angel Recording, where all the songs except the Cleveland Indians blues were recorded. Mike and Mark produced and injured many of these songs from Angel, and so Mike left the band, and Mark bought out Mike's share of Angel Recording in around 1981. Mike was replaced in the band by the late Tom Mackle, a Scottish guy. He was a great guy. He played guitar, keyboard, bass, sax. I'm going to play a cut from the CD. This is one that Roy LeBoy plays drums on, the drummer that was originally in the band. He came back and played. Mike Way plays bass. I play a double 12-string, which is sort of like a Roger McGuinn, Jim McGuinn Birds kind of song. And also Mark Luthart produced it and did some of the ahs in the background, which you won't hear on this. You can hear all this stuff online if you want to hear it. And this is called Sometimes I Wonder. We put this out as a cassette, and it became number 23 for the year on a local radio station, Sometimes I Wonder. And then also... it also is vinyl. Fill in the blank, the song at the beginning, and Sometimes I Wonder is vinyl, but it's released under Denny Carleton. So let's listen to a little Sometimes I Wonder.
Today I saw a young girl with a broken heart. The boyfriend up and left her, tore the world apart. They love them and they leave them with this sad refrain. Sometimes I wonder if anything can really change. Today I saw the wings of an eagle go to...
So if you actually hear that a little bit more, Tom Mackel is playing a double recorder part on that also. So it's a pretty cool recording. And Fill in the Blank was the other side. And as I said, it was number 23 on a radio station in Painesville, which was, it was cool.
If you are interested in Denny Carleton's music, videos, or books, check out www.dennycarleton.com. The website is also full of music history, fun photos, and archived radio shows of Denny and his friends. All of Denny's music, videos, and writings are also available on YouTube, Amazon, iTunes, Spotify, and other social media sites. Thanks for listening, and remember to support local music.
Listening to Denny Carleton's Cleveland Music Connection.
The Surprize Band changed its name in, I think it was 82, and the Surprise Band was popular, and we played in all over town. We would have big crowds. And then we played in the legendary Flats in downtown Cleveland. And a club owner there said that we should change our name because no one would know who the Surprise Entertainment was, even though everybody knew who the Who was and when they were called the Who. But he said if you put the Surprise Band on his marquee, he didn't know which band would show up. The people would think, well, maybe it's that goofy guy he had the other night, or we don't know who's going to be there. So he said, if you want to play in the Flats, you have to change your name. So we talked it over, and we thought maybe he had a valid point, although no one had confusion who was when we were playing out in Lake County and where we were playing. And as I said, nobody was confused when the Who played. After talking it over, we factored it out. We thought we might lead us to new territories, and we'd be in downtown Cleveland. And we changed our name to The Window, and nobody showed up. Surprise, nobody showed up. And that was it. So from then on, we really didn't draw that much because nobody knew who The Window was. But The Window then, one time there was an ad in the paper, and in the paper it said that Magic Radio, a really pretty big local radio station, was looking for a house rock band. And they wanted us to host Food for the Poor jam sessions. And so we played many, many gigs for Magic Radio as their band. And we learned all the songs that they wanted us to play. Actually, most of the songs we played is what they played. We collected food and donation. And then one day, I think they got smart. They got Michael Stanley to do it. Instead of getting 10 bags, they got 2 tons of food. And that was the end of our time with Magic Radio. But for the rest of the band, we always thought that was such a great idea to, when you came in, bring a Food for the Poor. We did it for years after that. And so that band went on for a while with Mark Luthart, Tom Mackel, and Mac Schaefer. But Mark left the band around 86. He was real busy with Angel recording, and he was really doing a lot of recording. And when I talk to Mark later, he'll fill in the blank of there was quite a scene of people who had recorded at his place, and it paints a picture of what was going on at that time. And it was the good old days, and we might not have known it. We just thought those were the days. But he left the band, and Mike Way came back in, and so Mike was back in for about a year, and we played with Tommy Mackel. And Tom Mackel, that's the sax player, the Scottish guy who's now passed away, great guy. Tom Mackel, and then eventually left, I think for health reasons, and then Mike Way also left. So at that point, there was a local bass player named Jack Freeman. Jack Freeman came and played the bass. Randy Klawan, a great friend from the day in the choir in Moses, he came and played guitar for a while. And then Al Globacar came and took Randy's place. So we went a lot of different directions. At that point, we were just surviving and playing gigs. But during that time, my friend Bob Pilska and I had been working at Lakeland Community College, and I did a songwriting workshop. And and we would try to compose songs. I would say an idea like, let's have a new dance craze, or let's make a song. Let's take the song "Blowing in the Wind" and think of a different idea for it. And I'd give everybody a creative idea. Well, I came up for the Cleveland Indians theme song, and I said, Michael Stanley actually had a song, "My Town, This Is My Town," which is a great song, and they played that at "This Is My Team." They changed it, or he changed it to "This Is My Team." It was a great anthem. But I jokingly said, well, that's kind of too up. It's the Cleveland Indians. They're in last place all the time. They lose 102 games. Let's make a real song. So we made up the Cleveland Indians Blues, and so while we made that up, we ended up, Bob Pilskan from Just Guys came in, and he had these ideas to change it around a little bit, and we made this the Cleveland Indians Blues. We ended up recording this, which is also on the the download, not the CD. We recorded this at Chris Butcher's recording studio. He's in a band called Abbey Rodeo, and this is the recording that we did, and Al Globacar plays on it. It's called the Cleveland Indians Blues. It's been remastered again by Mark, and we'll talk to him more when we get Mark and Mike Way and Max Schaefer on later. We'll all talk about old memories together. So this is the Cleveland Indians Blues by The Window, recorded in when the Indians were really bad, and now they're the Guardians, and so they don't even exist anymore. So okay.
Down in the cellar, once again, since I've been born, that's where they've been. It's been a 30-year slump, haven't had a winner since I've been alive. What's gonna happen to the tribe? I want the tribe to win, I know that you do too. If they lose 100 games, I don't know what I'll do. I've got the Indians blues. I've got the Indians.
2 weeks later, after we recorded that, I met Bob DiBiasio. And Bob DiBiasio, I was working at Chicago Community College, and I went on television to promote a concert. And Bob DiBiasio was a publicity guy of the Cleveland Indians then, and he still is today. He's the publicity for the Guardians. And he was talking about the Indians, and he was saying it in such a blues way that I thought, well, he's got to hear this song, but is it good that the song is sort of making fun of the team? So I decided about a week later, after that, the Cleveland Scene magazine came out with this saying that they were going to make a movie called Major League about the Cleveland Indians, how bad they were, and they were going to. And I said maybe my song would fit, so I called Bob DiBiasio, and he liked it. He said, "What are they going to say? We're the lovable Mets. We stink." He was like that, And he said, "Send it out with my blessing. Send it to Major League." So I sent that thing to Major League, which would have fit in perfectly to the movie. And I remember I got a letter back from the people that were producing the movie, and they said that they were keeping it in mind for post-production. When the movie was over, if they saw where that song could fit, someone's walking along, the sad blues, after the Indians lost again. And so when I finally saw the movie and I saw the River Burning by Randy Newman, who's a great songwriter and everything, I had the Cleveland Indians Blues. I really did, but for a totally different reasons. So besides, that's a good story, I think. So we're going to have some of the guys from the band come on now, and with every band, there's stories. One other thing that was happening the whole time then was I had Greenlight Records. I had this idea to have a little distribution network, I was getting reviewed in Option magazine by publishing my own music, and I set it up so that bands like the Sitting Ducks, which was Wally Bryson and Dan Clawan from the Choir, and Wally from the Raspberries, they put something out. The Choir put something out. I reissued my Lost Souls music. There was a band called the French Leonards. There was even a band called the Cleaners from Venus, who were very famous from England. I distributed them, which is absurd if you actually knew how I did it. I mean, I just went and somehow it happened that I did it. So Steve Dahlman was on there, a guy named Terry Ross, and at that time I had built it up to about 300 college and public radio stations, United States and Canada. I had distribution. I just ran out of time and money, and I just couldn't do it. I didn't know how to take it to that next level. But so we'll talk about all that and the scene. We're going to take a little break here, and then I'll have some of the guys on from the window, and we'll be right back.
Listening to Denny Carleton's Cleveland Music Connection.
If you are interested in Denny Carleton's music, videos, or books, check out www.dennycarleton.com. The website is also full of music history, fun photos, and archived radio shows of Denny and his friends. All of Denny's music, videos, and writings are also available on YouTube, Amazon, iTunes, Spotify, and other social media sites. Thanks for listening, and remember to support local music.
One thing I didn't see coming when I first put these interviews together with myself and Mark Luthart, Mike Way, and Mac Schaefer, and me narrating the history of the window, I didn't see how long this was going to be. It ends up almost being an hour long. So this show is going to be in two segments. It's just going to be me narrating what you just heard, and then I'm going to the next one will be the interviews I did with the other guys from the band. And we'll play some more music from Open Window. I'm going to go out with a song that's become my theme song in when I do the radio. It's called Moonlight Rebellion. It's also on the Open Window CD. This song was I originally wrote, one of my first songs I ever wrote was I Want You, which was sort of, again, inspired by the Kinks. Bum, pa-da-dum, dum. And later on, in about 1985, I decided to re-record it again. And then I had like just a little beat machine on it, and I sang the original song. And then I started thinking this would be cooler if I had real drums. So I brought Mac Schaefer over. Mac played drums. I mic'd the drums. And then I went over to Randy Clawan's house and recorded some kind of old retro-sounding guitar. And Moonlight Rebellion. And it just sounds like an old retro song. So this is on the CD because it's myself and Mac and Randy mixing it. And I played all the instruments except for the drums. And so this is Moonlight Rebellion. It's from Open Window. And then the next show we'll have interviews with Mike, Mark, and Mac. Okay, thank you for listening. Yeah, this is Moonlight Rebellion from Open Window.